Hey.
Father, me give you thanks and praise for life. Yeah, you give me real chances. Get it right, cause this life not easy. I make my mistakes. I'm learning, please believe me. I'll do whatever it takes. Them cannot get me now, never gonna get me now. I know I don't deserve it, not at all. Grace for a lifetime, look at the heart go deeper than the surface. Yours for a lifetime, don't fake the absence, no not about the lip service. I know you're worth it, nothing could I ever take your place. You are the one on my side, look at my face, amazing grace, me I feel. Some friend gone in an instant, they didn't wanna go the distance. They turn their back when they think it's a rap, so start to give a brother resistance. You never let me go, you hear my cry, Father you let me know. I am your child, it still hurts but life not easy. I make my mistakes. Please forgive me. I'm learning, please believe me. I'll do whatever it takes. Them cannot get me now, never gonna get me now. I know I did enough, my life I give it up. They will remind you of the things that you did, but I'm never giving up. I'm forgiven, no I don't want nothing less than. You hate this but what the X done. You make the picture so clear, don't need no caption or text on. Some friend gone in an instant, they didn't wanna go the distance. They turn their back when they think it's a rap, so start to give a brother resistance. You never let me go, you hear my cry, Father you let me know. I am your child, it's still critical and crucial. Now have time, feel bad mind. Now have time, Lord you bless me, so me skim over bad mind like jet ski. And though them envy, you make it way bad mind just like jet ski. Now waste time with them. Me praise Christ the King. Now waste time with them. Me have no time for bad mind. This are the revelation of the century. How you gonna make people living on your mind rent free? So me sit back and me take time and me analyze my inventory. They never put roof on me head, they never put shoes on my feet, they never put money in a pocket, they never give no food to eat. So me no take the man, me no take the man now. So me no take the man. Them words like water and dog back. Lord, you bless me, so me skim over bad mind like jet ski. And though them envy, you make it way bad mind just like jet ski. Now waste time with them. Me praise Christ the King. Now waste time with them. Me have no time for bad mind, so me no cater. What comes out of the mouth of a hater? Them dirty bad mind me a go pray for. Them forget that winning in my blood is a part of me nature. Well you know how the thing go. Them spread rumor and them false info. But the most time watch over me the same way when you look down on your big toe. So me no take the man, me no take the man now. So me no take the man. Them words like water and dog back. Lord, you bless me, so me skim over bad mind like jet ski. And though them envy, you make it way bad man just like jet ski. Now waste time with them. Me praise Christ the King. Now waste time with them. The
Hi, welcome to the It's Possible show. I'm your host, Antonia, and today we're going to be interviewing a dynamic woman of God who can dance like a butterfly and float into the hearts of people. So today I want to introduce Trinidad and Tobago to Miss April George. April, welcome to the It's Possible show.
Hi, Antonia. Thank you so very much for having me today.
Yes, it's a pleasure having you, girl. You know, it's like we're going to talk this evening. We're going to let people hear about you and know about you. So today, I want you to tell our audience who is April. You know, we want them to get to know you before we get to the real juicy part of the story, you know.
Right.
So tell me, is it that you were always going to be a dancer? Did you see yourself as, you know, from since a toddler, young age? You know, how did you get into dance? Tell us that.
Well, I know that I always loved to dance. From the earliest memory that I had. I loved dancing, but I didn't really have the opportunity to dance until I became a teenager.
Okay.
And I started to dance in church under the guidance of Keisha Abraham.
Nice.
So yes, I loved to dance from since I was small, and I got the opportunity to dance in church, and things went uphill from there.
Right, so that's where it all started.
That's where it all started.
Church.
It started in
You're
church.
a little dancer. So what about in your genes? Any dancing in your genealogy?
Yes, my mom is a dancer, so
Okay.
I know that I definitely got it from her.
Okay.
So I think she was very happy to know that I continued with the dancing.
All right, beautiful. So we have a proud mom who is a dancer, who has now a young dancer coming up and
Yes.
budding in her midst. So as you have started in church and under Keisha, you know, how did you transition now dancing with Youth for Christ?
Okay, so while we were dancing in church, we were invited by Youth for Christ Ministries to dance 4 dances they would dance under the St. Joseph Arima region.
Okay.
And Candace Braffett and Keisha, and sorry, not Keisha, Karen Elias, they were in charge of the St. Joseph Arima region. So I was introduced to Youth for Christ through the St. Joseph Arima region.
Okay, lovely. Well, that's nice. So as you got into that whole aspect of dancing now, I would consider this to be on a professional level now. All right. So how was that for you, being on what we will call the big stage, you know, because, you know, Youth for Christ have these big shows in the savannah and so forth. How was that experience for you?
It was definitely a fantastic experience. It was a growing experience. I learned a lot. A lot of my foundation came from dancing with the St. Joseph Arima team. You dance for much more people. The dances they would dance, that event that is held every year is attended by thousands of persons. And then
were you ever scared at one point? You know, because, you know, when you're dancing in your church is one thing. But when you're on that stage in the grandstand, you know,
right.
How was that? Were you ever afraid or scared?
The beauty about dance for me, I was, when it was time to dance, I really did not have that fear. Okay. God used to just pat down all the fear. I think I was more afraid of my dance teachers and making mistakes. They happen to be very good friends of mine now, but I remember when I met them, I was so in awe of their talent and their skill and being able to command such a dynamic group and being able to execute excellent choreography and so forth. So we definitely got a lot of experience and exposure through dancing for St. Joseph Arima and Youth for Christ on the whole.
Okay, so April, I want our audience, and we're pulling it out here because they're going to get to see how it is God took you from where you are to where you are now.
Right.
You know, so by profession, you are a?
By profession, I am a teacher. I am a music teacher, to be exact.
All right, so you're not even a dance teacher, but you're a music teacher.
Yes, I am.
So tell our audience, tell us, you know, all the viewers, we want to know how it is that you're being a music teacher
Right.
You're dancing in church.
Right.
You do a little dance for Youth for Christ.
Right.
You know, you're part of the dance company.
Right.
But the April I know now is a director.
Right.
So how did all of this come to be?
Well, let's just say I was very comfortable where I was. I was under excellent stewardship and guidance under St. Joseph Arima. I was under guidance in my church at that point in time. But one of the things that started to happen to me, especially when I got into my early 20s, is learning to hear God's voice for myself. And in that challenge, He started to guide me in a different direction. And He was actually leading me to a different church and a different fellowship. Yeah, so that particular journey was quite interesting.
I could imagine. I could imagine. Because how, you know, you was comfortable, you was in your cushy comfort
very
zone.
Comfortable.
And now you have this call to step out.
That is it.
Were you afraid at any point in time?
I was definitely unwilling.
So you didn't go willingly, you know, you hear April, did you like, you know?
The things that I taught was to know God's voice for yourself, and I knew that it was God speaking to me at that time. But you know, being a young adult, you want to do your own thing instead. But thankfully, eventually, I did listen to the voice of God, and I did eventually move from my home church, my foundation church, as difficult as it was. And where God sent me was in the middle of the Port of Spain East region.
Wow. So totally from the east, all the way to Port of Spain. So were you still living in the east, or were you still living in the east?
Yes, I was still living in the east.
So you have to journey to come from the east-west corridor. Well, I say from Arima, right?
Yes.
And come out to Port of Spain.
Yes.
So now you're in this new church. How was that transition? Because you know, you just told us you had your comfort zone, you know, you was comfortable, and then you hear the voice of God saying, April, you need to move. But you end up going. And now you're here.
Listen, obedience is way better than sacrifice.
Right.
And I had no idea why God wanted to move me at that particular time. Like you rightly said, I was comfortable, I was great, I was a keyboardist in church, I was dancing, I was doing everything that I really wanted to do in life.
So when you got to this new church, did you start dancing right away?
When I got to the new church, first of all, I knew that is where God needed me to be, because the minute I didn't even step into the church, I just stepped on the steps, and I heard very clearly, this is where I needed to be. And in case I didn't listen to that, it had a guest pastor ministering at that particular point in time. And as soon as I stepped in the doors of the church, the minister said that there are certain persons here with certain giftings and talents. God brought you to this church to be used for a particular time like this. So that was my second confirmation. Third confirmation, in case I didn't find the first two was enough, the keyboard already waiting with nobody to play it. And remember, I'm a keyboardist, you know, so he basically said, well, this keyboard is here waiting for you, you know. So when I joined that church, it was just basically to push forward and move. And yes, I started dancing, but I didn't only start to dance, I also started choreographing, because we were able to establish a dance team within that church.
So you weren't choreographing before?
No, I wasn't.
So this is your first time?
First official. I would choreograph for my sister and myself.
In the house, kind of thing.
We have 1-2 little family events. We would attend those events, and yeah, she'd have to dance with me. But no, I never did anything official like that. So until God moved me to
this
that
new place.
Location.
Right. You know, I want the audience to understand that nothing happens overnight. As they say, Rome was never built in a day. You know, but God takes us on a journey. And it's like an adventure with God, because you move from one level to another level to another level, and you're just going through these different transitions. So you would have started at this new church, dancing, choreographing, and then something else came and happened.
Yes. So while I was at that church, now I moved from a place where I was very comfortable, not really doing much, to a place where I had to learn how to become a leader. So in this new church, I was assistant Sunday school teacher, I was assistant youth leader, I was sitting on the board of the church, I was a part of the worship team, and I was a part of the dance team, leading the dance team. And the youth leader at that point in time, she saw what I was able to do, and she carried me to the Youth for Christ office, same Youth for Christ, and she told me that the Port of Spain is looking for a choreographer, and she would like me to be interviewed for that position.
Nice. So that's how basically it started now dancing in Port of Spain East.
I went and I did my interview, and I passed the interview, and I became the dance director for Port of Spain East.
So you're officially now, you are the director for Post TT Dance Co.
Yes, I am the official. I've been the official director, dance director for Youth for Christ, Port of Spain East, now Post TT Dance Company. Yes.
Okay, so tell us, how is that experience for you, being now officially a director? You're working with these young people within the Port of Spain East vicinity. Has that been easy? In terms of, have you experienced any challenges?
Okay. I know when I started, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I had everything to do with Jesus' name was being called every 2 seconds. I even remember the first choreography that I tried, and I know to myself, April, you have no idea what you're doing. Just keep going. And it ended up turning out to be something beautiful.
Amen.
I have been really blessed to be a part of the Port of Spain East dance team. They are very loyal, wonderful young people, because it comprises of male and female.
Okay.
And over the years, even though dancers would come, dancers would go, it always tend to be a beautiful bunch of people who know about togetherness and family.
And how was the response of the young adults or young people when you took over? Because there would have been a team there,
yes.
right? So when you came in, how were they to you when you came in?
They were very well receptive until they suggested that I came back the next year. Realized that the dancers from the year before were still there, so I was excited about that. I was like, ooh, April, you didn't mess it up. You know, they were really, really wonderful persons. In terms of challenges, I never really had any challenges from the dancers themselves. The churches that we would have worked with were extremely supportive. I mean, this is Port of Spain East. We are talking about churches coming together from the Mova Laventil area, San Juan area, Barataria, even from Beetham area. We had dancers coming from Beetham, Sea-Lots. And one of the things that I love about Port of Spain East region is that where the enemy has tried to maintain strongholds in these so-called high-risk areas, God found a way to unite these communities. And I know some of my dancers probably can't even walk. Yet here we are under the enemy's noses, working together, worshiping together, dancing together. And to me, that was such a powerful and beautiful experience.
It is an awesome testimony, because knowing you're always hearing on the news and hearing, you know, this one get gunned down and this happened in this area and all these different stories you would hear. But your dance company is in the heart of it, and you have all these young people from within the community, from different walks of life coming together, you know, and it is possible. And this is why we want people to hear that it's possible, that yes, the Port of Spain East area can come together in unity. They can work together, and they have been doing it. So how many years now have you been doing this?
We have probably been in existence between 12 to 15 years.
Wow. Say that again. I want them to hear you.
12 to 15 years I have been working with the dance team. I started very young age. You know, that you'll really figure it out. And I am so blessed. I know we still in the rain. The rain is here. I know you need to take your
I don't wanna lose my grip. I don't wanna lose my grip. Lord, hold me, keep me. No, it's not easy. I don't wanna lose my grip. I don't wanna lose my grip. Lord, hold me, keep me. No, it's not easy. No, this is no gameplay. When the cupboard and the bank account look the same way. So me just sit daily. Come and know you never fail me. Put me on thoughts in my mind, me about to. I'll me put the grind on the sun. Lord, me need you to see me through. Because I don't wanna lose my grip. I don't wanna lose my grip. Lord, hold me, keep me. No, it's not easy. I don't wanna lose my grip. I don't wanna lose my grip. Lord, hold me, keep me. No, it's not easy. We just try connect the dots. God and protect me heart. Temptation wanna mess up my walk. Giants wanna step off the path. So through prayer me stay in touch. But it a go on like an influx. One thing after the next, like episode when you binge watch. So I don't wanna lose my grip. I don't wanna lose my grip. Lord, hold me, keep me. No, it's not easy. I don't wanna lose my grip. I don't wanna lose my grip. Lord, hold me, keep me. No, it's not easy. So me don't walk by sight, me I walk by faith. When you're my strength, when you me I wait, man. See me I stand still and see my salvation. In advance, me give thanks.
So April, you were telling us about the team accepting you. How has that been?
So since I started teaching dance or working with the Port of Spain East dance region, it have been a truly wonderful and fantastic experience. Every person who have worked with the team have been really a gem, a great addition to the team, and they definitely accepted me. And every year I tell them, thank you for sticking around, you know, going with the ideas. Sometimes the ideas I might have might not be regular ideas. It might be, you know, out-of-the-box ideas. And they are always willing to follow it and follow my direction and work along with it. And I have really been blessed in that aspect. It's a fantastic team to work with.
But what about the actual parents, the community? How has their response been in terms of you taking over and the entire dance? Because I'm sure they would see a different style with you taking over and the dancing and so forth, as opposed to, you know, previously before. So as you've come into the community, you know, you're bonding with your team and so forth. How has the response been by the community and the parents?
Well, I can definitely say our success would not, or any sort of success we have had would not have been possible without all of the stakeholders, which would include the parents and the churches that the dancers would have come from, because our dancers are representative of many different churches, not just throughout the region of Port of Spain East, but actually throughout Trinidad. So if not for the amazing support of parents and various stakeholders, pastors, well-wishers of the team, we definitely would have not had a fraction of the success that we have had thus far.
Right.
So really and truly, POSE is a group effort. I can't really take any credit for the distance that God has allowed us to go because He has given to me such a wonderful group of persons.
And you guys continue to definitely defy leaps and bounds in terms of what you guys do, because you know, being under Youth for Christ and being on that stage for Youth for Christ, you know, some people would think, well, that's it, you know, they have a right dancing, you know, in front of big crowds in the grandstand, and you know, people are getting to know you guys, but this is the thing with God, that is never it. When you think that you have reached that point, there's always a next, you know, and I've seen that with you guys, that God literally catapults you all into a whole nother direction. So tell us about what you guys are doing now.
One thing I tried my best not to do is limit God in terms of what He wants me to do, what He wants us to do. And when we take those limits off of God, we are always left in awe. Each day is a brand new day where He shows us exactly the level that He can allow us to reach, and there's even further to go. All you need to do is have vision and being willing to trust Him to carry out that vision. You know, so I am blessed to see how the group has developed and grown at Youth for Christ, like you said, dancing on the Youth for Christ ministries. It has truly been a blessing. We have literally danced in front of thousands of persons. Well, we call it ministry, right? Because at the end of the day, it is ministry.
That's right.
And you would think, yes, great, you all did it. But God had something else and something more in store. And what started happening is that we started getting invitations to minister for music videos, gospel music videos. And that introduced a whole new dynamics to the team for the Spain East.
And I think, you know, a lot of people would not know you guys personally. Most of the times when you see music videos, you know, the dancers in the background, you know, and it's such a pleasure to introduce to the wider audience that POSE is one of the main dance groups that you will tend to see in a lot of our gospel artist music videos, you know, and to put a face to a name, you know, I think it's definitely something that would bless people this evening with them watching and viewing this afternoon. Jahzy dancer, okay, Jahzy dancer, Miss April George, you know, so it's such a pleasure for people to get to know, because a lot of times, you know, we start, as people would say, in the background. A lot of people like to be in the background, but if it's one thing I've learned with God, He knows how to bring you from obscurity into the forefront, you know, and take you from what we may consider to be trenches, or take you from in the background to the forefront. And I see God doing that with POSE, you know, because you guys have been, and you, April, have been on a journey from where you would have started as just a dancer in church, you know, and it's a true testament to any young person, boy or girl, that is watching us this afternoon, that you could start off doing your little solo in church, and you just might be dancing in a music video next to any name that we can think about. God could take you to that point, and even at that point, there's always more.
There's always more.
You know, so what I want the people to hear this evening, because, you know, in the midst of all talking about, the biggest thing that, you know, everybody talking about these days is pandemic, right? Because the pandemic came and happened, and you guys were doing ministry, you know, going out into various communities, going to minister on the stage, churches, and so forth. But now we're in a pandemic. Tell me, what has the pandemic basically done as it relates? So how did it affect your ministry and POSE TT Dance Company? How did it affect you guys?
Well, some of our major events that we normally minister for years upon years. For the first time, we didn't have that opportunity anymore. Like we would have discussed before, the Dancers David Dance is a huge event that normally takes place. It is a wonderful coming together of not just our dance group, but many different dance groups across Trinidad and Tobago under the banner of praise and worship in beautiful harmony. And that event was no longer an option. It was, I think a lot of us took it hard.
Right, I would imagine.
Not just my team, but many different teams, because it is something that a lot of groups, a lot of young people looked forward to. And we honestly did not know how we were going to move forward, because usually for Youth for Christ events, we normally have between 25 to 40 dancers that we work with. Now there's a pandemic telling us that we aren't able
and you're restricted.
We aren't able to meet, not even in a group close to that number.
Yes.
And we aren't even able to meet, period. You know, what are we going to do next? You know, how are we going to remain relevant? How are we going to keep our dreams, our hopes? How are we going to continue to push forward with that when everything around us is telling us it's time to shut down? You know, and I have to say that I am truly thankful for God, even in the midst of the pandemic, because this time period, especially when it now hit our shores or whatever, it actually gave me a chance to rest. So that was one positive. I didn't even, you know, sometimes you don't even know that you needed rest.
Yes, because you just going like the Energizer Bunny.
You know you have to do this. You know it's for God. You know that people are counting on you. So you're barely thinking about yourself. And so I got a chance to relax a little bit, you know, reevaluate and see what direction God wanted us to go in next. And right about now, the team that I have to work with is smaller than the original team.
Yes, and I will guess so because of the pandemic and the restrictions of the SOE.
That's
you would be working
we
with a smaller
definitely
group.
have to maintain all
social,
all the rules. We have to follow all the rules that are given to us at this point in time. But God still have been providing a way, even in the midst of this. And He have still been giving us opportunities to minister, even though it's on a smaller platform. And what we were able to launch during this season is our online presence.
Nice.
So where it was supposed to be probably the end of, you know, this dynamic group or whatever is happening with the group, now it became a shift where we are able to probably even reach a new audience and encourage persons even while they are also social distancing and they are also experiencing effects of this pandemic.
Right. And I love that, you know, because again, the beauty about God, He always shows us that just because of a pandemic, it's not over.
It's not over.
It's not over.
It's not over.
His plan is above everything that may be seeing and going on in and around us. You know, the Word of God says that His ways is above our ways.
Correct.
His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. You know, so even when we are looking around and everybody running around like headless chicken, like what to do, you know, God always has a plan, and He has proven that with you guys, because now you guys are online.
Yes, we are.
And you guys are busy because I'm telling you, you guys are literally pumping out these videos.
Yes.
So for me, with you guys and seeing you guys doing this now, you're even reaching a wider audience.
Yes,
because what you
yes.
would have had by people coming to a concert and, you know, being there physically,
Yes.
now you guys are actually out on the wide web.
Yes.
And how has the response been to your viewers watching you on
Well,
YouTube?
I could say for me personally, this has been a huge stepping stone.
Okay.
Because dancing is one thing, engaging people is another.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, so I really had to come out of my comfort zone, and I thank God for the opportunity to grow and do this. What I also thank God for is that I'm getting an opportunity to see how talented the dance members are, the dance team are, because they are not just talented in dance alone, but they are also, their different giftings are starting to show up.
Nice.
So for example, now that we are online, I'm getting an opportunity to see who is great behind a camera, who is great with social media, you know, and I am so pleased that our online presence is completely directed by the dance team.
Wow.
Right, by members of the dance.
These skills now that they might have never thought that they have, and look how God is literally pulling it out and bringing it to the forefront. So yeah, might have been coming to do dance, but here it is now. He's tapping into these different skills and abilities he has placed within them, and you're getting to see it shine and come to the forefront.
Definitely.
So as we're talking about that now, and we've talked about, you know, the dynamics of the team, how has it been? Because these kids have literally grown up with you. We're talking 15 years here and counting. They started off as young people, and now they are young adults. So tell me, in terms of them growing up with you, and now that you're seeing the different skills and abilities coming out of them, what could you say in terms of them now in their young adult stage and comparing them for when they were teenagers? What are the changes you have seen?
Oh wow, I truly blown away by the development of these young people. I had the privilege of witnessing them going through their journey of moving from teenager into young adult, and I'm so impressed with the results. I am so blessed to see that they are growing into beautiful, powerful, dynamic men and women of God. Some dancers who no longer dance with us, they are now pursuing different areas like ministry, Bible ministry, and other forms of ministry. So the whole idea of the dance team, for me, the vision that I have for them is a holistic one, where when you come into pose, you're not just going to be here to grow in dance. It's going to be a holistic. We want you to grow in body, mind, and spirit. We want you to be able to have opportunities outside of dance. If you choose to leave at any point in time, other things that you want to go into, we want to make sure and provide that opportunity for you to grow and develop. And that's what I'm witnessing every single day when I work with them. So it is really truly a beautiful experience.
So April, I know I asked you earlier, you know, in terms of challenges that you would have experienced, you know, and I know some of our viewers watching this might say, well, this sounding like too good to be true. She in the heart of Water Spain East, right? And she said she with these for 15 years, and these children like angels, you know, it's like God just send them down with wings, and they're batting around, and they're well obedient, and they're nice, and they're sweet, like, you know, cherry. But tell us, you know, have you experienced any challenges with them in terms of you choreographing and when you give, you know, the different direction for them to do? Have you seen, you know, that growth from when they would have been younger, you know, any clickbacks, you know, because it's young people they're dealing with?
Listen, the majority is female, so let's just start there. Right? I don't know about any household, but most households,
Yes.
family, you're going to have moments where you're going to have bickering, you're going to have differences of opinion. What we try to do in the group is welcome those differences of opinion,
Yes.
and then try to sit and talk it out. There would have been moments where we would have like serious differences,
Right.
and what we would have also developed or put in place is persons that people within the group can go and talk to and reach out to if they have a
Beautiful.
particular problem, even if it's with me as their director, or
Right.
if it's with somebody else within the group. What again, pause supposed to be a holistic experience.
Beautiful.
So we're not just going to be happy 24/7, go lucky people.
I know.
I ain't one of those persons. All right, and I know I know the team definitely have those challenges.
Yes.
But what we also try to do is learn how to effectively deal with it, because when you can effectively deal with issues and problems within a setting like this, then you can deal with issues and problems that will come up in life.
So what would you say have kept you guys grounded? What is that thing that anchors the post-TT dance corps?
Well, after God, love. After God, love. A genuine love for each other, a genuine love for what they do.
Yes.
And I have witnessed the sacrificial offerings in terms of they would give of themselves for each other. They will go out of their way for each other. It is really beautiful to
Yes.
experience. It doesn't always happen like that, but it often happens like that.
Yeah,
often.
and it's contagious. I could
Yes.
see it. I could definitely see it, you know.
You know.
Just being on set and watching videos, and just, you know, even today with us coming to meet you and, you know, to talk with you, it's been a
Yes.
pleasure interacting
Yes.
with you and one or two members of your team, because you
Yes.
can see that light, you could see that
Yes,
love.
Yes,
you
it's
know?
easy. It's easy to get hooked and stay
Yeah,
and don't want to
contagious.
leave. Yeah, like I said, they make it easy. I have had the two births of my children while being the director of the team. So I remember.
So they saw you literally,
yeah, they
you
saw
know,
me in
all the
everything.
stages,
all the
you know?
stages. I remember 1 year for my second child, I couldn't teach that year. I couldn't teach. I
Okay.
couldn't attend the rehearsals because I just pushed baby out. And they came to my home. They took the choreography from me and they went back and taught it to the team, and the rest of the team were humble enough to take it from the ones
Wow.
who they made the trips to my home. Went back almost weekly and taught them the choreography.
I mean, I don't know if you understand what you're saying, because I'm blessed by this testimony, because you are literally breaking barriers. This evening, I know with people viewing this, they are literally certain walls that have been put up in their mind and their mindset towards Port of Spain East. I know that those barriers are being broken. Those images that they would have in their mind by hearing your testimony about these young people and the great things that are happening inside of Port of Spain East is a true testament that anything is possible with God.
Anything is possible with God.
It's very beautiful to see and to hear.
So, and I know it sounds, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was like fairy.
But everything that I'm sharing with you are legit testimonies that I have witnessed myself, and that is why it is easy for me to make the sacrifice to be here to work with them. We have been through so much together. I've seen them take persons under their wings. I've seen them, you know, nurture persons, and you know, it is a testament to who they are going to be when they become, you know, the
April,
best part
tell
of
us,
themselves.
we've come to this portion of you guys' journey, you know, and we've started from the beginning with you and come forward. You know, what's next when it comes to Pose TT Dance Co?
Well, right about now, our main goal and objective is to be the premier dance company for gospel ministers throughout Trinidad and Tobago, the region and international. And whatever God wants to do to help us attain that goal, we are going to be doing it.
Right.
You know, every step that we have taken thus far have been guided by Him, and it's because of Him. And I am excited to see where He's take us. There are certain things I will explain to the dancers. There are certain things I wouldn't. You know, sometimes I'll tell them, y'all, prepare for X, prepare for this, prepare for Y. And by the same time next year, they're experiencing this, they're experiencing it. And I said it's very important for us to always be connected to the source.
Amen.
And allow Him to guide us. And once we are allowing that, you don't have to worry about a thing. God will always be in control.
So April, as I've asked you about what next, but just before we go a little further into what you guys are doing, and just by what you mentioned in terms of them connecting with God, how have you seen their spirituality grow as young people, now being young adults, you know, coming from their teenage age to now being young adults? How have they grown spiritually?
Well, a core part of the team is our spiritual connection to God. That's definitely core. It's heavily encouraged because I always tell them we can't go out there and do what we're doing and not live what we are, the example that we are showing. So I've seen the dance ministers try their very best to grow spiritually, and also they would also have so much of guidance from their parents and so forth. A lot of them come from very stable homes where the word of God is given to them on a daily basis. So seeing them grow through their dance ministry is really, really amazing. And definitely there is growth in their spiritual life as well. I know some of my dancers go through so much. They go through so much, and I've seen where they literally take what they go through and give it to God. I mean, not every day is going to happen. Some days I just throw up my hand and, you know, say, Lord, that
you have your way. Yes, you have your way.
You know, some days it's much, it's a lot, you know, but at the end of the day, we always come back to the source. And I see them living that example even in their lives as well. So,
you know, I mean, I would never stop talking about how you guys are such a true testimony, you know, and the light that shines from you guys. And, you know, we're talking about what's next, and you guys are definitely, you already started.
Yes.
You know, you've already started, and you have done a lot of music videos for well-known gospel artists. So I know for sure that door has already been opened for you guys to go even further, and not just within Trinidad and Tobago, but the region and beyond. You know, we may have a particular target, but with God, the sky is not the limit. It's beyond the sky. You know, so it's a blessing to hear that. So you guys have something that's coming up very soon. And tell us, how did this come into fruition?
How do I put this? Moselle is...
so how about we let Moselle tell
how about we let Moselle tell her story?
So
she is such an inspiration. And I really want you all to hear from her. So
let's bring Moselle into the conversation.
Life's so short, unpredictable. So many ups and downs, unexpected turns. In the chaos, sometimes it's hard to find you, God. Why cast down all you owe my soul? Broken heart, losing hope, struggling to gain control of situations I found myself in. Lord, I need you. Surrender, Jesus, I center. I love for your fight for
So hi, Moselle, Miss Ashey. It's a pleasure having you here with us this afternoon. So I want you to tell our audience about the story behind the fundraiser, because we know it's going to be for you, and we want them to get to know you and understand, you know, what God is doing in your life and why and how did this come to be. So tell us.
Okay, well, currently I live with 3 chronic illnesses. For those that don't know what chronic is.
And you don't look at that?
No. For those that don't know what chronic means constantly reoccurring. It's a persistent thing. They always say that you can't heal from it, you can't get better from it, you just have to live with it.
Right.
Which is, I have scoliosis, my kidneys, I have nephrocalcinosis, and my colon. I don't know what is wrong with it. Nobody seems to know what is wrong with it.
But, Moselle, you're dancing. The first one you call, number 1. What does it say?
Scoliosis.
But you're dancing.
Yes. And
how is that possible?
I would say it's God, and it's only God, because the pain that comes with it, I wouldn't even wish this on my worst enemy. That is to tell you how much pain it is. I would say it is the excruciating pain, and a lot of people will be like, so how you dancing? How it is you still continuing? I'm like, I don't know. Like, it has to be God. It's not on my strength, because I know if it's just myself, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I do. And I remember in secondary school when I went back to the hospital and they told me, well, okay, do not do anything at all. Stay home and just go to school, go to church if you have to, go out the road and come back, but don't do any activities, don't do nothing.
So basically don't dance.
Exactly.
Which you love.
Exactly. And at that point in time, I was into karate and track and field. And I do 100-meter and hurdles, and I couldn't do it. And you know, it was a bit disappointing because like, I have to stop all these things and just stay home and just lie down. I'm like, this is not me.
Just hearing you're doing hurdles, you're in karate, and you having this ailment and being able to defy the odds of the medical practitioners, you know, it's a true testament to God in your life and the power of God, because like you just said, it is not your strength, it has to come from somewhere, you know. And how does God keep you grounded to go? Because you are currently dancing, right? So where do you find that strength?
I would say it is extremely hard. I'm not going to say it's a walk in the park and it's all beautiful and the roses and you know, it's not. It's
not a picket fence.
No, it's really hard. Sometimes I question God when, you know, they say don't question God. I would say I have been questioning God and be like, why? Like, I don't want it anymore. Like, here's what, you could take it back. And I think I got there. And you know how people would say, well, you know, God gave his strongest battles to his strongest soldiers. I'd be like, I am not one of them, you know? Leave me out this war. I cool. And I found that
7 o'clock.
I realized that the reason why I have these things is because I think I'm supposed to inspire others. I think I'm supposed to use my story to minister to others, to show others that my God is still alive, my God is still real, despite the fact that a lot of doctors and medical person count me out and say, no, you can't do this, but yet still, I'm still doing everything that they say that I cannot and I shouldn't do. And I think that is a inspiration.
You
and
are
that
a walking miracle.
Yeah,
you are a walking miracle.
Yeah.
You know, because anytime people hear doctors say, you know, don't do this, and we're not saying to defy your doctors. We take what they say into account and within reason, and we note it. But then we know God has the final say. And in your story, God is showing not just your doctors, but to the wider world that it is possible that you could have scoliosis, you could have all these different ailments and still dance and still run and still do what you would love to do because of the power of God in your life. So, you know, I know you guys have the fundraiser coming around. And what's the purpose of the fundraiser?
Okay, so the purpose of the fundraiser is to deal with one issue in particular, which is arising now and it is acting up, which is my colon. So a child, I should say a baby, I can't for myself. I can't. It is a struggle. They would have given me any possible thing you could think of that, you know, parents give their children when they go through constipation.
Yes.
Nothing works.
But Moselle, you don't have tubes. I
No.
know people that go through them thing and they have them with bags
Yep.
and tube bags, but you don't even have anything walking around
I
with. How is this?
And that's it. And all I could say is because of God, because it is a lot of pain.
Yeah.
It is a lot knowing that you want to do something and you can't. And just the simple fact that to just sit on the toilet and try to go, it's too much. It's painful. You know, sometimes I just say, you know what, just forget it. Just forget it and go. So that's the reason why, because I would usually go and do a colon hydrotherapy. That's the only way that I'll be able to get cleansed.
Okay.
And I usually go there every 2 weeks, which is $400, and that is costly because I have to do that all the time because, as I said, I can't do it for myself.
And then we're in a pandemic.
Exactly.
And you have to raise funds. What are the doctors asking now of you?
They are asking that I do a colonoscopy, which costs approximately $5,000. What they are suggesting after that is that I do a surgery to get a stoma, which it will be a bag, so therefore every feces or whatever will pass through there. You know, but they said that to do a colonoscopy first in case, you know, they see any underlying issues or anything else that we may not see on the outside, but you know, if when they do the process, you know, they might see something. So that's the reason why we are raising the funds to get that procedure out of the way. So at least we could figure out what is the real reason, what is causing this, and by God, if it is God tells me, well, yes, go ahead with the surgery, I will. If he says no, then I know that he will make a way. If it is that he would take everything away and one morning I wake up and I'm able to pass, you know, I will say thank God.
And we're going to believe for that.
Exactly.
Yes, because he has been doing it thus far with you. A lot of people would have counted you out a long time ago. A lot of people would have just reached to your house and be like, yeah, you do nothing. You will be homebound, you know. But yet you continue to persevere. Yet you continue to defy the odds, you know. And we're definitely going to be in support of raising these funds, and we're going to believe God, you know. And I hope my audience is with me. We're going to believe God for that 5,000 plus, because our God deals in abundance and the overflow. So we know we can do that. So Moselle, you know you have the full support of the It's Possible show and our team, and we're going to support you. And we're going to get those that view our channel to also support. All right. And we want to say thank you to you for sharing your story, you know, and just letting people know that in spite of what you're going through, that it is possible to rise above it and still be used by God to do great things, to dance, to run, to whatever it is, you know. And I know April would have mentioned it earlier, because you are also the PRO for the dance team.
Yes, I am.
You know, so even in other areas, your skill are coming out and you're being a blessing, you know. So thank you so much for being on our show, and we really appreciate it. And we don't wish you the best, but we're gonna partner with you. We don't want to say, you know, wish you the best and you know, God be with you and that kind of thing, and then that is that. No, we want to partner with you. We want to walk alongside with you, and we definitely want to see the miracle that we know God is going to do in your life. Yeah.
Thank you.
So God bless you.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh Lord, 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 Lord. I don't wanna lose my grip. I don't wanna lose my grip. Lord, hold me, keep me. No, it's not easy.
So April, tell us, what are the 3 takeaways you would like to leave with our audience today?
Well, I would like to remember that it is very important to know the voice of the Lord for yourself. If it wasn't for listening to God, I would never have had this particular opportunity, and I would have never been able to witness such a beautiful dynamic group such as Pose. So it's very important to know the voice of the Lord for yourself. Also, I want to encourage persons to don't be afraid to step out your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to be moved, especially if God is directing you and leading you. It might feel uncomfortable at the beginning, but once He is directing your path, you have nothing to fear. And thirdly, remember everything that you're doing, always do it with love, always be intentional about what it is that you're doing for God, especially for God. You know, always have that internal, okay.
That's all right. Go ahead.
Yeah, always be intentional about the things of God.
Right.
And when you're doing something for God, make sure it's done with love.
Yeah, and we get that from you guys, you know. Those three things are spot on when it comes to the fact that, you know, you are to, one, step out of your comfort zone, you know the voice of God, and last but not least, you want to be intentional about the things of God. And April, I know that will be something that will go a distance in the hearts of many of our viewers.
Amen.
So, you know, on behalf of our team, we just want to say thank you, giving us the opportunity to come into you guys' space and to tell your story about the Pose TT Dance Company. And it's, again, I tell you, that is such a testimony in the heart of Port of Spain East, that this dance company is doing great things for God. So that in itself is a testimony that it is possible. Anyone that is out there, they can now say to themselves, I could be from Beetham, I could be from Sealot, I could be from Caronage. You know, you are Arima, Central, Enterprise. God could use you to do the same.
Definitely.
Yeah, so April, thank you so much for joining us here today on the It's Possible show. And just as we wrap up, how could they get in touch as it relates to the concert that you guys are going to be having? Tell our audience how they can reach you, where they can send their funds to. Tell us.
So this Saturday, August the 28th, we'll be having a final concert on Instagram, on our Instagram page at Pose City Dance Co. At Pose City Dance Co. This particular concert is we are aiming to raise funds for one of our darlings. We call her our miracle dancer, Moselle Ashey.
Yes.
And you could direct your funds to the First Citizen Bank's account. The account number is 252-4224. First Citizen Bank, Moselle Ashey, 252-4224. Feel free to check out our Instagram page. We are also on Facebook and other social devices.
Okay, great. And they will just have to put that in, right? Pose TT Dance Co. And they will be able to reach
on
you guys.
Instagram, definitely.
Awesome. So guys, what else we're going to do is that we're going to put it up also in the description box down below, so you guys can go back, you can get the information. We want you guys to support them. We need to raise this money, and we don't just want to meet the target, we want to meet overflow, because the God that we serve is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we could ever ask, think, or imagine. So again, April, I want to say thank you to you and your team. We want to thank you to Moselle Ashey for coming on and sharing her story. I mean, it truly touched the hearts of many, and I know we're going to hear the testimonies after this, how her story has inspired others. So on behalf of our entire team, we want to say thank you. And again, to our viewers, thank you for being here with us this afternoon on the It's Possible show. Always remember, what is impossible with man is possible with God. And we look forward to seeing you next Sunday at 6 p.m. at the SFS on the SFC Broadcasting Network. Thank you and have a blessed evening.